If you need an ice pack for your bum, you demand an ice pack for your bum. Just do it. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna be sharing with you the things I wish I would have known about labor and delivery. TMI warning, if you are a child or a family member that doesn't wanna know the in-depth things I wish I would have known about labor and delivery, then you might wanna exit the video. Bye-bye. For those of you that stuck around, let's get into it. So first of all, let's just talk about your water breaking. Number one, the fact that it doesn't always break. Like if you're expecting some big flood and your water's gonna break and then you rush to the hospital, that's not true for everyone. And for those people that I know who did have their water break, actually a friend of mine who has a 4-month-old now, her water did break and that was her first sign of labor. And it's not like a gush. It's not like just tons of stuff just comes out and floods the floor. Usually it starts small as if you're peeing yourself. This is from what people have told me, and then it usually just continues coming out. I actually know somebody that put on a diaper. Once her water started breaking, it trickled at first and it kind of was getting heavier. And so she just put a diaper on the whole time during that early labor before she went to the hospital. And I would have probably done the same thing. I actually did buy diapers for postpartum and made sure that I had them in case my water broke. I was I'm ready for this if I need it. But also if your water does break, that doesn't always mean that you have to rush to the hospital immediately like you see in movies and TV shows. I definitely would call your hospital and let them know what happened. They may want you to go ahead and come in, but usually it's not this race against the clock. It's you usually still have time because your contractions sometimes haven't even started. For me, mine did not break naturally. They actually broke it when I was in the hospital. I hadn't even had my epidural yet, which I didn't even plan to get. And once they broke my water, my contractions were crazy, insane. I don't even remember. It was an out of body experience. I don't even remember. It was just all I remember is excruciating pain, making some sort of noises. Was I screaming, grunting? I don't even know. I remember looking at my dad at some point saying I just want to scream, and he was you do it, baby, you scream. It was just awful. I don't know what happened, but when I had my water broke, my contractions started getting really bad and never would go down. So from what I had read, I expected to have those little breaks in between those really bad contractions. I didn't have breaks. I would just go up to the peak, and then it would, and this is no contraction, this is the highest contraction, and it would just go like this. It would just stay up there and it would get a little lighter and then get really bad again. It was just excruciating pain for me. And I know it's different for everyone. And that is another really important thing to know about labor and delivery. I knew that you can't really know exactly what to expect because everybody's experience is different. This truly proves that all experiences are different because I didn't even have those little breaks in between to breathe and reset and relax. And that's usually what helps you get through that natural birth. So I did have to get an epidural. I legitimately couldn't handle it, and having the epidural for me was a great experience, and I'll get into that. But I was able to really enjoy labor at that point because I couldn't feel the pain, but pushing and everything, I felt enough pressure to push, and I was smiling in between pushing. I was so happy and I was so excited. I was always excited to meet my baby, even throughout that pain. That's what I was holding on to, was I'm gonna meet my baby, I'm gonna meet my baby. But when I was on the epidural, I could actually smile and have that as a happy thought. And I'm sure everybody around me was a lot happier because they didn't have to see me be in such pain. Call the hospital 100 times if you have to. They do not care. I promise you, they want you to be comfortable. And so when I first went to labor at 3 in the morning, I called them immediately. I knew I had plenty of time, but being a first-time mom, this being my first labor, I didn't know. I mean, I knew, but I didn't know, I just, I just wanted to talk to somebody and them to tell me what to do while it was happening. And they gave me instructions, and even from the beginning my contractions were weird. They started getting really close together, but then not consistent. It would be 3 minutes apart, and then 7 minutes apart, and then 3 minutes apart, and 5 minutes apart, and then 4 minutes apart and like 8 minutes apart. Like it was just everywhere. And so that was making me extremely paranoid that I wasn't going to end up getting to the hospital when I needed to be, because they have that like 5-1-1 rule. It's consists 5 minutes apart. 5 minutes apart, lasting 1 minute for an hour. But mine would never just get to that 5 minutes apart and stay there. And so I was just so paranoid. So I ended up calling them like 3 or 4 times. I finally went to the hospital when my contractions were like that, but when they were bad enough that they caused me to tear up a little bit, I was like, I think we should just go ahead and go. That way I'm there. So that way I'm not in severe pain on the road, like on the way to the hospital. And it was a good option. They went ahead and took me in. I was 4 centimeters. And that's when, you know, they ended up breaking my water. It helped me progress, and it was horrible pain. And I still was stuck at 4 centimeters. And they ended up giving me the epidural, which really helped. And I feel like after getting the epidural, things really started to progress. And it was probably because I was very relaxed, and I wasn't relaxed at all when I was having contractions. So I think I made it like 13 hours before getting an epidural. So, I mean, I tried. And then I ended up having him around like 9:30. It was like 9:28 or something p.m. So I started at 3 in the morning and lasted until like 9:30 p.m. So I don't know. Just a little note about getting an epidural. I didn't feel it. So people are always really concerned about like the pain of actually getting the needle in you. I didn't feel it at all, but that's also because my contractions at that point were so bad. That's all I could focus on. I actually was laying in like the fetal position, trying to be as still and straight as possible when they were giving me the epidural. I didn't even like sit up. I know a lot of the YouTube videos I've watched of labor and deliveries, they're actually sitting up straight on the hospital bed to get their epidural. But because of my contractions, I literally couldn't sit up. They didn't even ask me to sit up. So they must have known like that's not even possible. And like he was really nice. I felt bad because like I probably sounded a little grumpy because I was literally having contractions constantly, no breaks, and he wanted me to stay still. And like I was trying, and I think I sounded frustrated, but I wasn't even really upset. Like I was like, get it in me, but I was just like in pain. So that's something to know too. Like they all understand, the nurses and everybody there. You do not have to apologize. I apologized so much, even through all that pain. I kept apologizing to my family. I was apologizing to the nurses when they broke my water and they had to change out the little pad underneath me. I apologized for that. I apologized that like right after they changed it, more water came out and they had to change it again. I apologized every time. They said, do not apologize. Like you do not have to. Like we get it, and like we understand. You just do what you gotta do, and we'll be here to support you. And so just keep that in mind. It's nice that, you know, I'm an apologetic person, and it's nice that, you know, we care enough to apologize. But if you want to apologize, wait till the very end and just be like, sorry, I was a little crazy. Sorry, you had to clean up my mess. Like, but I appreciate you. Like I said, I didn't experience like pain from the epidural. I did not feel any contractions. I felt very light pressure, and I actually knew when I needed to push because of that. I could still feel my legs. Like I didn't go fully numb, and I think there are different levels of epidurals, and I got the lowest of them. And I think they even gave me a button that I could have pushed to get more, and I never pushed it. And I still didn't even feel anything during pushing, but I only had to push for like 20 to 25 minutes. And so that may have been why. Had it been taking longer, I probably would have maybe needed to push, but it went by pretty quickly for me. And I know that's like something that's pretty common with having an epidural. People say that pushing takes longer, and I didn't have that experience. So I'm really hoping that like next time I don't end up having to push for multiple hours, because I know somebody that had to do that naturally, and that would just be awful. So getting an epidural means that you cannot get up, you can no longer walk. So if you really like walking around and stuff like that, you might not want to get one, or just like hold off until like you can't handle it anymore like I did. But like my contractions were so bad that I couldn't walk anyway. So like, who cares? But because you can't walk, that means you can't go potty, which means you have to get a catheter. It may sound like this awkward, awful thing, but like I didn't feel it going in, obviously, because of the epidural, and I didn't feel it coming out. It's pretty much as if it never happened. Like I couldn't feel anything. Like I couldn't feel the pee coming out through the catheter, and so it was almost like it didn't happen. I just never had a pee. So just keep that in mind, I guess. Something to know if you didn't know you're gonna have to get a catheter. If you get an epidural, you do. And after labor and delivery and they stop giving you the epidural, they take it out. I didn't feel that either, by the way. The thing that hurt the most about removing the epidural was the tape they have it to secure on your back. Like that tape hurt, and literally I had like tape marks for like days after labor. So expect that too. I mean, that tape is like sticky. It doesn't feel good coming off. I mean, at that point, it's like the least of your worries. And once my, I guess, feeling in my legs and my body came back a little bit more, a nurse does have to take you to the bathroom, and it's a little bit awkward. I did not expect this at all. I mean, I guess it's common sense if you think about it, but like, how are you supposed to know? So the nurse actually does have to escort you to the bathroom. You are in your hospital gown, so when you have to go pee, I had to take it off, and I was butt naked in front of this nurse. And you know, it's awkward, but like at that time you're in like pain, you don't know what's happening with yourself, and you have this new baby, like so much is going on that you honestly don't care very much, you know, but that just was a little weird, and I didn't expect it. And you know, she was so nice, and like she did not make me feel uncomfortable at all. So I was definitely lucky to have the nurse that I did at the time. But yeah, and she teaches you how to pee. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it does sting that first time you pee. And for me, I don't like being in pain in front of other people. I like to like play tough. And so it was very awkward for me to have to like pee in front of her and know it was like stinging so bad. I wanted, like, tears were wanting to come out of my eye, and I just like toughened it out. They give you the squirt bottle. I filled it up with a little warm water and soap because I had stitches, so I had to like keep them clean. And yeah, after that first time, maybe the first 2 times going to the restroom, it didn't burn really as much anymore, so that's good. But I mean, the very first one like burnt really bad. Something to note, I don't know if you're allowed to take stool softeners to the hospital. I mean, I'm not condoning that you sneak them, but you know, maybe just pack them. If it's okay that you take them, take them. But if not, ask the nurse for a stool softener, because to be honest, like, it's terrifying to poop for the first time. And I'm just being blunt as I can, because I mean, there's no point in hiding it. Like, you're gonna have to poop at some point, and it's going to hurt, and you might want to make the stool as soft as possible. So take stool softeners. I recommend taking them like immediately. That way, just no matter what, when it comes, you're prepared. You can even maybe eat some like fruits that naturally help like make your stool loose too. So awkward, but you really, I mean it. Like, that's something that's terrifying, I promise. And like, you need to be prepared. I just want you to be prepared, because like, I feel like people sugarcoated it for me a little bit, or like it's been a while for them, so they didn't like think about these little tiny details. But like, everything hurts, and like, I was in just like such bad pain. I did not expect it. And anytime somebody asks me about labor, so anyone I know that's pregnant or anything, I tell them like the God's honest truth. And I told them exactly what happened for me with recovery, because I did not handle it very well. I struggled a lot, especially those first 2 days at the hospital were really hard for me. And I want people to be prepared. Maybe they'll have an easier recovery and they'll be like, well, she was, you know, this isn't that bad. But I'd rather you like say that than like not expect the worst. I'd rather and like, people have it far worse than me. Like, I can't, like, people had, you know, have C-sections and have to recover from surgery. People have a lot worse tearing than I did, and I struggled. So like, I can't imagine like those, like, you women out there that, you know, did those things. Like, you're tough, man, mentally and physically. Sorry, I don't want this to sound like, I know it's already scary. I'm not trying to scare you. So if I am, I'm really sorry. I mean, like, the thing is, I survived it, and like, I handled it. And I tell you, the first 2 days, for me at least, were the worst. Being at that hospital, like, I just wanted to go home. Once I got home, things started looking up. It was that first 2 weeks for me, in general as a whole, that were really hard. That first 2 weeks, I even had told Taylor, like, I don't think I can do this again. Like, we're only having 1 kid. Like, I'm not doing it again. And then after 2 weeks, you know, up from like 2 to 6 weeks, like, I really started feeling good, like myself again. I mean, I was still healing and not like fully comfortable, but like, I could get out of the house. I don't know. I just started feeling more like myself. And then after 6 weeks, everything started looking up. You start figuring things out and getting into a routine. And it's not as like strange that you have a baby anymore. Like, I still look at him sometimes and I'm like, is that my kid? Like, how did I do that? It gets so much easier. So it is really hard, and I just want you to know and be prepared for that, but it does get easier, and like, that's what you need to hold on to. You just need to hold on to 2 weeks. That's what I tell everybody. Like, when you're struggling and you're like, this is the worst thing, remember that 2 weeks, postpartum, you're gonna be so much better. Things are gonna be so much better. So just hold on to 2 weeks. I wish I would have brought like a fuzzy robe to like, that's a random thing, but like I do. I brought like comfy clothes and stuff. I stayed in the hospital gown the entire time we were there. And like, I honestly just wish I would have had like a fluffy robe and honestly, maybe like some like maxi dress or I don't know, something more comfortable than the hospital gown. And like, when we were at the hospital, I didn't want to wear pants. So I ended up just wearing the hospital gown the whole time. So like, I really wish I would have maybe packed my own like comfy robe, something that I could have just like wore, maybe even naked, like, and just had this like comfy robe on. So it's just like a little tip throwing it in there. One thing I have to mention is hemorrhoids. I've talked about this before in like, I think a postpartum video a long time ago, but I knew people get hemorrhoids. I knew what they were, but I didn't really know how they felt because I had never had them before. And so I was like telling the nurses my bum hurt, and I don't know if they just like didn't know the extent to how bad it hurt because I was using the word bum, but like it hurt so bad. Like finally they gave me some like ointment and they gave me a ice pack made from diapers, and that helped a lot. And I think the ointment really is what like helped me heal, because like once I got home and I kept using the ointment, I think like a week or two later they finally went away. If you are having butt pain, like if your butthole hurts, tell the freaking nurse, be like, nurse, my butthole hurts, I need medicine. I kept being like polite about it and saying my bum hurt, and they didn't do anything. It wasn't until day 2, towards the end of the day when we were about ready to leave, that I finally was like, something is wrong with my butt, like help me. And they finally gave me an ice pack and ointment. So if you have hemorrhoids and they don't already like check or like give you something, like tell them. And that's another thing, like they don't care. If you need something, you tell them. If you need pain meds, be like, I'm in pain, I need something. If you are struggling with breastfeeding and you want somebody to come in ASAP, like tell them, somebody needs to come and help me because I don't know what I'm doing. If you are having trouble with changing diapers, anything, just ask for help, because like they're there to help you and they don't care. They want you to be comfortable. They want to help you. That's literally their job and they want to do it. If you need an ice pack for your bum, you demand an ice pack for your bum. Just do it. So as far as how you look, you're going to still look pregnant when you leave the hospital. Your stomach's not gonna go flat like it might have been before. It's going to be like 20 weeks pregnant. Like you're gonna look like you're pregnant. And that's fine. I kind of expected that, but like I didn't know the extent of it. Your stomach is hard. They actually will push on your stomach while you're there and it hurts really bad. There's so much about labor and delivery. It's so hard for me to even tell you all. Like as I'm talking, I'm remembering more and more things, but just keep that in mind. Like they're gonna come into your room like a couple times a day and like push down on your stomach. They're really just, I think, checking the location of your uterus and things like that. It's important and it's for your well-being. So like let them do it, but it won't feel good. And then when you leave the hospital, no longer will they push on your stomach, but it will still be a little hard. And I can't even tell you like when it went down. I remember there's a picture of my husband and I at like a week postpartum, and I'm like dead asleep, like laying on him, and you can see my stomach sticking out of my tank top and I look like I'm pregnant. It was multiple weeks before like the hardness went away. And then even then, I mean, it took months for it to really go down. I am like 12 months postpartum. I would say around like 10 months did I get down to like my pre-pregnancy weight, and since then I've lost a little more weight. But just keep in mind, like it took you 9 months to grow him. It's gonna take you like 9 months to get back to yourself body-wise for the most part. I mean, I still have flappy, stretchy skin that wasn't there before, and I still get this random like nerve pain in my vagina. Like I'm sorry, I feel so blunt right now. It's like, but I get this like pain and it like just like, oh, like that hurts. I don't know if it's from the stitches or what, but I've read about it and I've heard that it does go away like sometimes years down the road. So we'll just have to see. I'll let you know a few years from now if it still hurts. Yeah, so that's it. I think I've told you most things that I know. I am sure there's so much more, so I'll probably just do another one of these videos after my next labor and delivery. I'll take notes while it's happening. All of these things are based on my memory of my last labor and delivery, which was a year ago. So next time I'm going to take notes, make my mom, make my husband, make them all take notes of what's going on with me, and in what order. And so that way I can give you like a really in-depth labor and delivery story and just like things that you need to know. But hopefully this gave you guys a start. And again, I'm not trying to scare you. It is a magical and beautiful thing. Like I said, with the epidural, I was laughing and smiling during pushing and during labor at the end. And this time I'm gonna just do it. I'm getting an epidural from the beginning. I'm not gonna even try naturally. And I wanna be happy. And like, that's what, at least this last time, made me happy. And as far as recovery, I think I'm gonna handle it better because now I know what to expect. And that's what this video for you hopefully is I want you to know what to expect, at least what I experienced. That way you going in will know, and maybe it won't be as bad for you. So anyway, guys, if you have anything to add, please put them in the comments. And if you have questions, put them in the comments. You can comment me here and you can DM me on Instagram. Like, I just wanna be there for you guys through this entire process. So I'm here. Just let me know if you need anything. And if you are new here, please consider subscribing. I would love for you to join my family. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.